o'clock, we're now in session. First order of business.
Chairman.
Yes,
We have the children here. We would like to have them come up front and they can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
that would be fabulous, please. Are we ready? Face the flag, please. I pledge to
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to be entertained for the holidays by these fabulous singers. Miss Owen?
If technology works. I think last year we ended up doing an acapella, but that's okay. We can do that too, but I think we're all right. It worked before we left, so we'll see if we can.
All you gotta do is fine.
That's right. Which is easier when you don't have old eyes. I don't think it does.
No, it's plugged in.
Yes, but you know what? We'll do this. Here. You all shift that way.
This way?
And you all shift that way. So, sorry. And as I tell people at my council, whoa, hello. Never mind. Okay. So we're gonna start with a little, really? Okay, it works. The technology's working. The user is a little.
Operator issues, yes.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we are gonna start with our take on Deck the Halls. Okay, you're gonna watch me.
Tis the season to be jolly.
sure I want to make sure you can hear them and. All right, you ready? I think we've only got time for 2, baby. So we're gonna do one more, and then we'll, right?
You can do 3.
We could do 3, okay.
Do
Well,
three.
they have one that they like. Now, some of you are old enough to remember, yes, we have no bananas. That's not what we're doing. But it's close, because at Christmas time, a lot of people have parties and things like that, and they have pinatas. But this, the person is having some trouble finding pinatas. Yes, we have no pinatas.
Went down to my favorite store on a frosty day, looking for a festive treat that we can also play. Could not find it anywhere, so I asked the clerk, "What you see is what we have." He sounded kind of hurt when he said, "Yes, we have no piñatas. We have no piñatas today. We have chocolates and cherries and cookies and berries and all kinds of candy canes. We have a bowl filled with some Skittles, big boxes of Brittles. But yes, we have no piñatas. We have no piñatas today." Sadly, I could not believe what he said was true. Would you kindly look again? I asked him what to do. I don't need to look again, I already know. We stole out of everyone about a week ago, and he said, "Yes, we have no piñatas. We have no piñatas today. We have cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies and all kinds of fancy cakes. We have a plate of harvest and goodies made just for the foodies. But yes, we have no piñatas. We have no piñatas today. Piñatas. We have no piñatas today. Yes!
We would like to close with a song called "In December," and I hope we all always sort of live up to this song. In December, we try a little harder.
In December, it seems we try a little harder, harder.
want to see more of them, their Christmas concert is December 19th at 7 o'clock at Bessie Jeffries.
Thank you, Ms. Oakland.
Thank you for being here and bringing up when the concert will be. For every elementary school, middle school, and high school will have their own Christmas programs.
Yes, some of them already have, so.
Okay, so check for that. And then kids, if you want, well, the other thing too is I know a lot of work goes into this. We appreciate it, you being here. And also, if you get a chance, you can look on the internet, warrencountyva.net. And you can actually see a taping of this, so you can see yourself on the internet. If you get Comcast, I'm not sure what channel it is and what time it comes on, but you can also see yourself on TV. So anyway, thank you. You guys have a great Christmas. Take care.
Lunch, tell them thank you.
But
Go ahead, Sophia. Sophia was saying something on behalf of all of us.
I was saying thank you very much for your time, and I can't wait to see y'all this afternoon at Warren County High School.
They want to stay.
Well, they have to get back to school, they have work to do.
No, I don't. Yes? My knees feel weird.
Our next is the adoption of the agenda, or any additions or deletions.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. I'd like to postpone item number L, request for reimbursement of legal fees and expenses for the Board of Directors Economic Development Authority, to the next meeting on January the 7th, 2020.
I'll second that. Is there a motion to accept other than? Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Wait a second, you just make a, what did you do?
Postpone item L to the meeting in January.
Did you need to do a roll call vote, or is that good enough?
That's good.
Pass unanimously? Okay.
Okay, next is the adoption, the resolution, special recognition of the planning commission members. We have two of the three present. I don't see Scott, but Lorraine, Ralph, Mr. Stanley.
Mr. Chairman, in your packet, you've got attached resolution of 3 outgoing planning commission members. It's been the planning department's pleasure to work with these members over many years, and we want to thank them for their service to our community and ask the board to adopt the attached resolutions honoring each of them. Lorraine Smelser, South River District Representative, 15 years on the Planning Commission, 16 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Scott Stickley, North River District Representative, 8 years on the Planning Commission. And Ralph Rinaldi, Shenandoah District Representative, 5 years on the Planning Commission. I want to thank Taryn Logan for helping put these resolutions together.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the resolutions as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Lorraine, Ralph?
No, it's a lot of reading.
It's more than I intended to do. Lorraine, we can't thank you enough for everything you've done. Your leadership, your knowledge, and your abilities. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Been a pleasure.
And Ralph. Oh, here, my friend. God bless you. Thank you for what you've done. And I wish you continued success in your position with the school board. Thank you. Did you get Frosty? Did you get Frosty? You're
if I may, while the chairman's coming back, that the planning commission has a big role to play. They hit the initial issues as they're coming through, and I know on the board, I like to see how they weighed in with their analysis. And I want to publicly thank Mr. Rinaldi for his service, and thank you for your insight and analysis on the planning commission. It was greatly appreciated, and I read your analysis every time. I can guarantee you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the public presentation comment period. Public presentation time is intended as an opportunity for the public to give input on relevant issues, not intended as a question and answer period. Ms. Mouse, has anyone signed up?
Yes, sir, 5 people. Leslie Matthews.
Leslie Matthews, 143 Matthews Lane, Bentonville. And I actually was going to speak on L, so I had something prepared, and I don't know if it would be okay to go forward. It was in regards to the attorney's fees. Mr. Chairman, can you tell me if it's okay or?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, mine had to do with you guys' attorney's fees and the upcoming vote for the EDA, which I'm glad to see that that's going to be postponed until the new board comes in. But recently, when I reviewed the invoices for y'all's attorney's fees, for the majority of you, and the county administrator, I just felt that I had a few things that I needed to share. And although, and I'm not taking any cheer, those children brought great cheer, but I like to put facts out and truth for all of us. But although the charges against every one of you were dismissed in the court, it doesn't change the fact that you still remain in the wrong. Because while under an oath of service to the citizens of Warren County, you failed to do all the good you could, to all the people you could, at any time that you could, and by all means that you could. Your failure of service has cost the citizens of Warren County millions of dollars in embezzled money. And as if that were enough, you still felt it was okay to charge us whatever it took to litigate misdemeanor charges against yourselves. The citizens of Warren County have reimbursed $30,000 for Mr. Stanley and Mrs. Gladys's fees alone. One of the charges on Mrs. Gladys's invoice I saw was for a call to the attorney from her husband. Now this charge should be reimbursed to the county, as Mr. Gladys would not be eligible for such a reimbursement. Now the remaining $20,000 was divided between the rest of you, with an exception of one man, who I feel rightly deserves to be commended publicly for an honorable decision that he made and he stood by in paying his own attorney's fees. Mr. Thomas Sayre, you made a choice that none of your other colleagues could or even attempted to make. And I want to personally say thank you.
You're welcome.
Back in 2016, I asked my representative, Mrs. Gladys, about having the county provide one vehicle decal free of charge to every Warren County taxpaying citizen who is currently serving on active duty in the U.S. military. Ms. Gladys, you recall that? Okay. She told me she would check with Mr. Stanley, and his response was that we didn't have it in the budget to offer. But ironically, there were no issues recently in finding $50,000 in our budget to cover all of your attorney's fees. We must never forget that liberty comes at a cost. And every opportunity we get, we should honor those who defend our country and ensure America's freedoms remain intact. In closing, I just want to remind you, to those that this fits, self-service is a very dishonorable thing. God bless you all.
I'm going to defer my comments to January 20th. Thank you.
James Gent.
Mr. Sayer kind of stole my comments also.
Melanie Sands.
Melanie Salins, 95 Maurice Drive. Thank you, Mr. Sayer. You did exactly what I was hoping would happen today. I was going to ask that this vote be delayed because there needs to be more time to review the bills and the culpability of each individual, since there are 7 people involved, and they should each be looked at separately, each one having played a unique role. So I won't read the rest of what I had to say, but I have to relay a personal story, especially after seeing all the children sing this morning, because as you know, my children always come with me to these meetings. And being that my oldest is in 4th grade now, she's been learning about how our government works and how the United States was formed. And she really broke my heart this morning because she said, why do we even go to this? They aren't ever going to listen to us. They're going to do what they want. And that's a really big deal to me, and I hope that's taken as a really big deal to all of you. That some of you, that's the legacy that you're leaving to our children and what you're teaching them in what you've done up there. Thank you, Mr. Sayer, for not following what the rest of them have done. And I'm glad that this is the final meeting of 2019. Thank you.
Joe Andrews.
He left.
There's no one else signed up for the agenda.
This public presentation comment period is now closed. Reports from outside agencies. We start with People's Inc., Mr. Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I appreciate time on your agenda this morning. I'm Rob Goldsmith with People Incorporated, your community action agency. Here to deliver our annual report, and I also brought our brand new 5-year strategic plan with me. I believe you got electronic copies of those in your agenda packet, and so hard copies are coming around. This is for the year 2018, so I'm not quite a year after the end of this period, but it's a little bit dated from my perspective. It was a good year for us. We provided opportunities for people to reach their goals to enhance their lives through affordable housing, through community economic development, through child development, through workforce development, and a range of community services. We served over 7,000 people during the year and had a budget of approximately $18.5 million. Here in Warren County during the year, we provided budget counseling to people who had personal financial needs, and we provided loans to people who needed some personal loans and couldn't go to a bank and get those loans. We also provided training and technical assistance to people who are interested in starting or expanding small businesses. As Mr. Stanley knows, we put in a good bit of work trying to put together a new markets tax credit project in the county. Unfortunately, that did not materialize. We also, as far as the new markets tax credit financing is concerned, we also provided housing counseling to people who wanted to become first-time home buyers, and we did during the year have someone achieve home ownership for the first time, which is a life-changing kind of event for them. During the year, and I don't usually get up and talk about what we tried and didn't work, but we applied for funding to start up an early Head Start program in Warren County. We didn't get the grant. We found out finally, it took a long time to get feedback from the federal government, but we finally found out that our application was very strong, but we asked for too much money. And so we're waiting until there's another opportunity. If Congress gets its act together and adopts a budget, then there may be an opportunity this year. But we are ready to apply for that funding again and hopeful that in the near future we can come to you and say that we got the funding and are providing comprehensive early childhood development services to families with children under 3 years old. The other document that you received is our 5-year strategic plan. It calls for us to strengthen our client services, our community development services, our board, our advocacy, and our internal operations. A lot of work went into this. I want to thank you for appointing Tony Carter to our board of directors. Tony's one of the leaders on our board. He is the chair of our personnel committee. He's a member of our executive committee. He was a member of the strategic planning committee, and he is serving now as a member of our transition committee as the board moves forward to find a successor for me. So he's a valuable member of our board. We hope to expand our board membership in Warren County and in this region, and that's one of the things that's in the strategic plan. We look forward to providing more services and finding ways to provide opportunities to the citizens here in Warren County, and I'm always happy to get suggestions from you on things that you'd like to see us work on. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone has any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next is Virginia Department of Transportation, Mr. Carter.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members.
Good morning.
VDOT's report for this month, we've completed our brush cutting on Route 631 and 632. We also did some brush cutting at site distance issues at the intersection of 678 and 618. We will continue brush cutting, weather permitting, this month on Route 677. We've done shoulder and ditch repairs on 619, and we also have some to do this month on 637. We've done ditching operations on 647. In that particular case, we also lined those ditches with wrap stone to help with the continued washing. We repaired slopes on 607, and we're also going to be repairing the slope on 638 Houseville Road this month with the Gabion baskets. That's a wire basket which we fill with rock to stabilize the foot of the slope and hold it. Our usual pothole repair, we encourage anybody who encounters them with significant this time of year, let us know. We'll get somebody out there to take care of it. We did our grading operations on 11 routes throughout the county. And we made base and asphalt repairs at the Linden parking ride. And this month we'll be using our slope mowing machine to do some of the steeper slopes that we can't get on a regular tractor. We've already partially mobilized for a couple of weather events at higher elevations. And then of course with the forecast tonight, we will be mobilizing at 4 p.m. this afternoon and carrying through until the current weather event passes. The Morgan Ford Bridge approach repairs, they're complete. The road's been reopened. All of the school rustics have been complete for the year. And then under board issues, Mr. Childers and myself rode and looked at some of the board's concerns. I think we looked at 11 items last week, so we're in the process of working on mitigations for those. We're also waiting on the environmental clearance to remove that exposed piece of rebar at the Indian Hollow Bridge. And then we finally gotten a new tree contract, and we will be addressing 3 hazardous trees. And Ms. Glavis corrected me, it's Bentonville Road, not Browntown Road. Every time I think of that area over there, everything is Browntown. So excuse my error there. Are there any other issues that the board would like for me to?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I noticed that we discussed this several months ago maybe, got some of the guardrail issues on 55 East.
Yes.
And I noticed there, just this side of, I guess right below what used to be Alvin Road or whatever, I noticed on the north side that that's been taken care of. They've got it marked on the south side to be taken care of. Around High Knob, newer entrance, that stuff's almost laying on the ground. And there's a new one too that I saw, and I asked Mr. Childers when he gets a chance to ride out to Dismal Hollow Road, because there's a little piece there. And I do understand that you only have one crew from Northern Valley to do that, but I do appreciate the efforts that put forth. I know it's on your list. You're sort of like Santa. You got your list and you're checking it twice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we do have a contractor. All of that repair work is under contract. And so they're moving place to place to get to it. So, but you're right. What you had just mentioned is under on our list.
Okay. And then you mentioned Morgan Ford too. It seems like they were able to do the repairs sooner than expected, which is good.
Well, they had a small incentive
Right.
if they completed it, so we wouldn't have to keep the road closed.
And I know there was some traffic on social media about how much it costs and why it shouldn't cost that much and all those things. I do understand there's more involved than just what you may see on the surface. But one question, I think I know the answer. The funding for that bridge came from where? Was it all feds?
No, sir, it wasn't all fed. It came from state funds.
Came from state funding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there was no real local funding involved?
No.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is there adequate parking at the parking rides, or are they becoming overfilled now, or is more space going to be needed?
Now, every time that I have been up there, there have been available spaces. Parking rides, of course, you know, are still being used up there next to the convenience store. And I don't know how long that remains available. If that's full, then obviously that overflow is going to come in and probably fill up the other parking lot. Excuse me. There have been some plans in the works to talk about expanding the existing parking lot and preventing additional, but I haven't heard where that's at. But they are looking at funds to expand that one again. However, it needs to be full before that would go through.
And at the fish hatchery, you know, there's a bit of a safety issue right there with parking along the side. And I've noticed that people having to get out into the road when they park the vehicle because it's so narrow in there when they go fishing. Is there anything that could be addressed in any way on that?
That is one of the issues that Mr. Childress and I looked at last week, and we are looking to see if we can perhaps improve the shoulders. Depends on how much right of way that we have.
That's all.
Yes, I would like to thank you very much for all the responses to all the questions, all the issues we've had in South River. You have been most responsive, and people are very happy with what you've done for us in South River, and I do appreciate it. I'll send Mr. Carter an email sometimes late at night when I think of it, and lo and behold, I'll get an email back right away, and I do appreciate your responses, and the people in South River appreciate what all you've done for us in South River. And I believe you have a person with you.
Yes, ma'am. Before I introduce the individual that I have with me, I would like to say that as this is the last time that I will be addressing this board as a whole. tell you that it's been a privilege on my part to work with this board over the past few years. And I wish each and every one of you that are going to be doing other endeavors the best. And I look forward to working with the new board with the same amount of cooperation that we have with this. And with that, I would like to introduce Matt Smith. Matt is my new assistant as of today. My other assistant said I was too tough on him and he bailed out on me. So, but you all will be whatever board is up here. And even if you have things after you leave the board, you know, please feel free to call Matt or myself. We will be getting information, his contact information out to you.
Mr. Gardner, I want to thank you personally for everything you've done. I'd like to call you Ed because I think we've become friends during this endeavor. What you've done for the people in North River took 7 years to get the tractor trailers off Reliance Road. And I tip my hat to you for that because that wasn't an easy thing to happen. But overall, Warren County is well served by VDOT through your direction. I travel up north to see 9 of my 11 grandkids. And the other states that I travel through going up north would be well served to find somebody like you. You always respond. And it's rare that you don't accomplish what you're trying to do. Thank you very much. I'm going to miss you.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the compliment.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to thank you also for the service to People Shenandoah District. One of the things I remember right when I got elected, there was the guardrail issue on Howardville Road. You all stepped right in there and took care of it. Made it look good. Thank you. The issue of Blue Mountain Road, people have told me that back in the 80s that they were promised to have that paved. And I told them I'd do everything I could during my 4-year term. And again, you all made me look good. You stepped up to the plate and you paved Blue Mountain. And that was quite a feat. And I can tell you the citizens there on Blue Mountain Road are very appreciative of it. And everything that you all done. I know that took a lot of heat with the Morgan Ford Bridge, but a lot of that was because of the landowners on both sides of the property and not cooperating. And I guess you guys and the board at the time, I wasn't on the board, but would have been nice if it was a little higher, a little wider, like in South River District, but that's what got built. Now we get to put in a park beside. I think we've already done all the legwork for a park there, right? And so a park will be built there, right there at the south entrance. Again, thank you. God bless you.
Thank all for the compliments, and I would certainly love to take all the credit, but it is only through the partnership with the board as a whole that we're able to accomplish these things.
Mr. Chairman, I also appreciate what you've done for our 4th district out there. But I hope you can pass it on. We have an issue on Airport Road, and I think you're aware of it. It's a sharp turn. It's quite dangerous, and I'd like hoping you can pass that along.
One last thing.
That's news to me, Roger.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Economic Development Authority, Doug Parsons.
Good morning. I'll start off with talking about our finances and our financial management. We've submitted the majority of the proposed adjusted journal entries to Yount, Hyde and Barber for their work on the FY18 audit. We have a few more to get out to them, and our accountants are working on those. I've reached out to Yount, Hyde and asked for a time frame for completion, and I've yet to hear back from them, but as soon as I do, I'll let you guys know through Mr. Stanley. Joe Boatwright at the USDA has completed his review of our loan programs, and he's actually given us clearance to start making loans again. But before we would do that, we would need to form a loan committee of 5 citizens in the community to help review the new applications that come in. And then Mr. Boatwright would come up and sit in with us as we go through the first few loans. and so forth. On our finances, we've developed an income and expense sheet for the first quarter of FY 2020. And we're working with our accountants to update it with October's financials. We're also working on our proposed budget for calendar year 2020 that we would need to continue operations. And we'll present a plan to the Board of Supervisors sometime in January, showing what our operational budget and our current debt situation looks like. I think I've mentioned in the past that we're getting to a point here in probably February or March where we're going to hit the wall and we're going to be out of money. So we're going to do the best we can to nail down our financial situation and be able to come back in January and let you know where we're at and what we would need to continue operations and to be able to service that. As far as prospects, I'm ever optimistic. Well, we have a new strong prospect for the 426 Ball Drive building, and they've looked at the building twice. I'm excited that tomorrow we're going to have some students from Randolph-Macon Academy come out, and they're going to fly the drone over the roof of the building to get some video, because that was something that the client had requested. So it's an opportunity to work with those folks and work with the kids as well. We're going to hold an industry roundtable meeting on December 19th at noon at the Virginia Indian Port. This is a meeting for local industry leaders to meet with local and state economic development officials to discuss any issues they may have on the state or local level in a confidential setting. We're going to have Nancy Price from the State Economic Development Office there. She's their business retention specialist, and she's aware of all the resources and so forth around the state. We also have Jeannie Ann Clark from Lord Fairfax Community College scheduled to be there to talk about workforce training resources for the group. Our website, we're working with Queen Consulting on a new website, and we hope to have something live and ready to go in the first quarter of 2020. Leech Run Parkway, the project never ends. The contractor, Branch Civil, is on site and working on the remaining items to close the project. The engineers have called for sod and some regrading of certain areas. A lot of that has been done. I don't think all the work's being completed. The bad news is that the grass will not be able to get established in time for the DEQ to sign off on the notice of termination for their permit this fall, and so it will have to be this spring when we finally get this thing shut down. VEDP site characterization project. We've received the final report on Warren County sites. I've been asked to review the data for accuracy and completeness and report back to VEDP by tomorrow. The report also includes cost estimates for increasing each site's tier ranking through investments in due diligence items such as phase 1 environmental studies and ALTA surveys and so forth. Our site scored very well. I have found one mistake in their report, and I'm going over that with them now. That will increase the tier ranking, or rather the site score out of the Happy Creek Industrial Park. There was just a little glitch in the information there. Business retention. Over the last month, I've met with several more of our existing businesses in Warren County, and I'm glad to report that I'm not running into any businesses that are really having problems out there, at least major problems. The only issues I'm hearing are that they're having a hard time finding workers, and 2.5%, 3% unemployment in the region, you're getting your full employment. So we're working with them in the State Development Office to try to help them with workforce recruiting efforts. And also I will work with Jeannie Ann Clark on the training whenever they indicate a willing or a need for that type of help. Several of them are considering expanding, and we're also, again, bringing in the resources to try to help those companies that are considering expanding. So with that, any questions?
Say one other question.
I was going to ask you, is the Fairground Road property closed yet?
Not yet, but we are planning to close by the end of the year. We do have an agreed upon sales price. We had some negotiations there in November and December, but it's my understanding from the client's broker that they definitely want to close before the end of the year, and we would certainly love to also. We're looking forward to selling that property, retaining 2 businesses in the county, and getting this particular debt off our books.
And then, did you want to say something? as it related to the Brawl Drive, the big warehouse issue, when that came before us, when our board voted to do this bridge loan that was supposed to last like 30 days, that it was supposed to bring jobs to the community instead of just ending up being like a warehouse that's apparently another warehouse that was bought up and ends up having 2 employees running the big building. And so that was the emphasis behind that. And so I hope that the end result is there's going to be jobs in that building.
This particular prospect said that they would bring 55 to 60 jobs to start and then ramp up to 100. It would be a manufacturer, and I think that there would be a respectable amount of capital investment, and they would employ many people in many different trades in the building.
In the name of God, I hope that happens, because we've taken a lot of heat for that and a lot of misunderstanding, but I hope that happens. The other issue with the, I've been trying to find out, as you're aware, even Mr. Tedrick, Mr. Stanley, why did the EDA enter into that $10 million loan with IT Federal? I've done FOIA requests, no one can produce anything in writing. I just hear kind of whispers to me why they did. Maybe Congressman Goulart and his staff wanted it. Nobody's produced anything in writing to me. The only thing that I've been able to ascertain, because I wasn't on the town council, nor was I on this board. I was just like everybody in this audience. I was just a regular citizen. And in September of 2015, the town council unanimously passed, Bevan Ager made the motion, and it passed the town council unanimously to do a $10 million, I think it was like a bridge loan to IT Federal. It was supposed to last, I think it was 30 days or 60 days, and it got extended. And on December 15th, it ended. And then, unbeknownst to nobody can produce anything in writing to me, the EDA then on December 16th of 2015 entered into a $10 million loan and gave it to Patty Wines, who was the chairman, and Jennifer McDonald to do to work it out. And you went to First Bank in Lebanon and entered into this $10 million loan. And again, bizarrely, the EDA entered into a 4.35% interest rate, and it gave the money to Kirk Tran at IT Federal, I think 1.9% interest, somewhere around there.
So I've got some figures for you.
Okay, go ahead. I'd like to hear it.
All right. So here's the Development Authority's loan with First Bank and Trust. So here's the parameters on that. $10 million, 4.35% for 30 years. If you run an amortization table, which anyone can do, you'll come up with a monthly payment of $49,781.18. That is not what the EDA has been paying since the inception of the loan. And if you look in the loan documents, you'll see where there was a negotiated payment of $40,000 even instead.
Correct.
First payment, according to the loan documents, was January 20th of 16. Per the amortization schedule, if we'd have been paying the $49,781.18 as we should have been, we should have a principal balance of $9,291,970, according to the amortization schedule out there, okay? Our actual loan balance is $9,802,474.34, a difference of $510,504.34 that we're behind the amortization schedule. The balance at the 7-year mark, where the balloon hits,
Just so that people understand, there's a balloon payment in this agreement in 7 years, so go ahead.
so the balance at the 7-year mark should be, if we were following the payment of 49, it should be $8,674,129.15. At the current pace that we're paying at $40,000, we will be at $9,632,551.19, and the difference will be $958,422.04. That's the gap that we will have at that 7-year mark. So switching gears now to Kurt Tran's loan with the EDA. It's $10 million at 3% for 30 years, and he is paying the correct payment per the amortization schedule of $42,160.40. His first payment, according to the loan documents, was September 16th of 15. Per the amortization schedule, his balance is now at $9,048,328. At the 7-year mark, the balance will be $8,398,215. So the difference between the bank's loan to the EDA and the EDA's loan to Kurt Tran at the end of the 7-year mark is $1,234,336.19.
So, and that figure represents, because there's a difference in the interest rate.
There's a difference in the interest rate between the 3 and 4%. The EDA has not been paying per the amortization schedule, so every month that we pay $40,000 instead of the $49,718 figure, you know, we're slipping as far as the amortization. So at the current rate, it will take a total of 54 years to pay off that loan.
Right. And now, is there anything in writing as to why the EDA entered into that type of a bizarre situation?
I just don't have anything right. I mean, we've looked in the offices, I've asked Gretchen to do a search just as if it were a FOIA search. And we don't have anything other than on the loan documents that you've seen where it speaks to it being an incentive for economic development. So I don't have anything to offer there.
Mr. Sarah, maybe when you're done serving on the board, you could be part of the 5-person committee working with the EDA. That might be ideal, and you'll be able to get some of your questions answered then. Does anyone have anything else?
I have just one question.
Go ahead.
And what's the schedule for opening the building and putting that building in operation for what it was originally intended for? Where is that situation now? What is that situation?
I'm sorry, sir.
The Kurt Tran building.
Oh, the Kurt Tran building?
Yeah. What's the schedule for that to open and start?
Due to the litigation, I'm not allowed to reach out to Mr. Tran, and we don't know. We're in the dark on what's going on there, quite frankly, due to the litigation. I'd love to know, and even in the midst of all of this, I'd love to help put somebody in there.
And now you're done with the auditor, right? Your auditor that you have at the EDA, you all are done with them now?
Oh,
You
no.
got the figures that you needed?
Are we talking about the FY18 audit?
Well, you were trying to get figures of how much you owe the county and the town. with your auditor.
You're talking about our accountant, Carol.
Yeah, well, no, not the county auditor, the auditor, what's the name of the auditor the EDA has?
Well, you have Sands Anderson, who would work with
That's
Cherry
the law
Beckert,
firm,
and then you had Yalheim Barber, who was doing their
That
annual.
Yeah, those are the folks who are working on our FY18 audit. We have gotten them a big batch of the adjusted journal entries. I think there's a few more to get them. Yet I understand that what we've gotten them has given them plenty to get started in working on our 18 audit while Carolyn and Heather finish up the remaining entries. And then I'll also say that Carolyn has been working very hard on trying to untangle the debt and the interest that is accrued on some of our older projects like Success Drive and the Happy Creek Park improvements. And she's found some original balances, and it's a very complex process to follow those loans down through time as they were refinanced and combined, and principal balances disappeared in combined loans. You have to go back and run different amortization schedules at different interest rates, and that's what she's trying to do now to help sort out what the interest will be for some of those older projects like that.
Good.
I would just like to say, I thank you very much for the hard work you have done, and I truly appreciate the challenges you've had in bearing with the cross-examination, things that you had nothing to do with creating, and we appreciate so much what you've done for us with EDA.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure working.
And I give you my thanks.
Anyone else? I just want to say thank you. You stepped up to the plate when not many people would with what was going on. And you've been a gentleman and controlled yourself throughout multiple types of questions. and I thank you for it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, just as a comment, sir, I am Ed Daly, I am Chair of the EDA. We don't have good answers to any of your questions, Mr. Sayer, because there's no one on the EDA today, and there's no staff member at the EDA today who is involved in any of those transactions with Mr. Tran and IT Federal. And therefore, we cannot tell why the town initiated this and why the EDA followed through on it. We just really don't know. And I apologize for that, but there's nobody there who was involved in it. Thank you.
Right, if you happen to find anything in writing, please send it my way. I appreciate that.
Next on the agenda is the town of Front Royal, Mr. Teacher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, I want to begin by letting you know that I have no pinatas today. I want to really commend you for having the Arrest Jeffrey Jazzy Jaguars. That was, I'm just off script here, but that was a really great experience. What touched me personally was the fact that they're actually being taught the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, we forget, there's many communities in our country that our children are not being taught the Pledge of Allegiance. So I just want to shine a light on that little glimmer of hope for our future. You have before you the report that I've submitted. I'm not going to read it.
We don't have it.
I never received a report.
Okay, so you do not have the report. Good job. So I will highlight some of the activities. The Comcast pole attachment agreement is finished. The Shentel pole attachment agreement is also finished. They're rolling out fiber across the town. We're currently, beginning on October 14th, 6% of fiber was installed. That's going to be a wonderful thing for our community. Not only having competition within the town as far as relates to cable, but also to have high-speed fiber throughout town. Taking the lead of the Board of Supervisors, the town has formed a working group to study data centers. You passed a resolution. I took that back to our council, and we decided to really roll our sleeves up, and we're analyzing all various aspects of data centers, everything from electric capacity needs, water, fiber needs, and so we're hoping to actually do a code amendment. So we're going to take it to the very extreme. We're actually going to process and have an actual code to make our community more lucrative for a data center. We have retained the services of a gazebo, we call it the gazebo facilitator. There's been a lot of chatter downtown about activities at the gazebo, parking issues, time of use, etc. We've actually hired a facilitator that in January we hope to have a community meeting and have a facilitator moderate the discussions and try to find some resolutions. The town has also retained the services of a public information officer. Actually, we've appointed someone. That's Todd Jones. We're real excited about this, frankly. The individual is working very diligently to establish policies and procedures for this new town function. The Afton Inn is something that we're in discussions with the EDA. It's just very apparent that the building is in a state of significant disrepair. It's become an actual safety hazard, and I've been in communications with the EDA along with the mayor, as I've been in communications with Mr. Daly. Blighted buildings continue to be a focus for council. Council has decided to actually draft an ordinance, which we hope to have finished sometime in January, which would bring about a spot blight abatement ordinance. The Sheets is approved. The engineers submitted the design for the right turn slip lane on 17th Street. We're going to have that here probably starting breaking ground in 2020. Community Development Block Grant Program is still rolling along. We had some struggles with getting contractors, frankly, for the facade improvement. They're looking at the downtown parking, streetscape design, wayfinding signage, and facade projects. The Front Row Limited Partnership has been on the books for many years. It's pending submission by approval, but the town did approve a one-year extension of the already submitted master plan. Happy Creek Knolls Section 4 has been approved. The IT Federal Building, the main pending issue is the bio retention unit, and that can't be constructed until the storm drain pipe is installed by the owner across the IT Federal Building, so that's still pending. Royal Phoenix Pump Station, the last major item to be completed before operation is getting the phone company to install a phone line. It's been tested, so we're happy that that's completed. Happy Creek Road Phase 2, the consultant will be selected within days. We currently have a budget of about $80,000, and we will then use that information in our Smart Scale application next March. McKay Spring House, the spring itself is in significant disrepair. We've looked at possibly putting a roof on it, and but we may have to shore up the actual walls of that structure. So we're investigating that rather significantly. Some miscellaneous items. We have a subdivision and land development review committee that has been meeting on a very regular basis. I think they've had 3 or 4 meetings, and they anticipate 2 or 3 more meetings. We are rolling our sleeves up as it completely involves our subdivision ordinances and land use ordinances. We think some of the code is very challenging for developers to build appropriate subdivisions. So we're anxious to look forward, and we hope to have a report to the council at the end of January. I'll get you a report. I don't know exactly what transpired, but I'll get you that report emailed to you, Emily, this afternoon or this morning. Any questions from council or from the board?
I know one thing it's been worked on, I guess continuously worked on, is making progress more pedestrian friendly locality.
Yes.
You get your crosswalks and stuff like that. And I don't know what you can do, what we can do. We need to put it out there too. People have to take some responsibility for their own self, and that means not wearing black, dark clothes when it's dark. I asked council meeting, I came down before the board meeting, I came right there near Eagles and Morris, this family of 6, it's kind of dark out in front of the street.
Yeah.
I left when I went back after the meeting and went to my office, and there was a skateboarder going across the driveway.
Yep.
They don't realize, I can hardly see anymore.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to just wear something as far as, because that a little bit responsible. I don't know what you can do to put it out there on their public access channel or your, just whatever. I think y'all have addressed that to some extent too.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Carter. That's a great point. I do have in my notes about pedestrian safety and some things that we are doing. You're right. I mean, that is a major focus for the town council. We're on a plan that every other month, or very frequently, I should say, we're giving public notices about what the public can do to improve their own safety at these areas. But we are installing crosswalks. The latest one that you should be prepared for is the one on Kerford, across from the soccer fields. We're installing 2 raised crosswalks there. There's going to be some road closures. I'm not going to go into all the details on that. We're going to close the road this month and close it next month in order to install that. So we are making that a real high priority, and there's even more money going to be budgeted next year for more and more crosswalks and more lighting, and just trying to make our town as safe as possible. But I appreciate you recognizing that.
Anyone else have any questions?
I was going to thank you, Mr. Teeter, for your service as a town manager. You stepped in at a time they needed some leadership, and I think you're filling that void. I appreciate it. One thing you and I had a discussion about the Afton Inn, and I just hope that gets raised as quick as possible. The figure you gave me, I think you said almost a little over $500,000 has been spent on that building already.
I've heard, I think it's a little less than that, but it's close to 500,000 is my understanding.
Yeah. I think we need to move on.
Question.
Yes,
For
sir.
Royal Limited Partnership, the 600 plus acres that we annexed to the town,
Yes, sir.
is there anything happening with that project?
I suspect I have no issues for me saying this. I've been contacted by a representative from the partnership that said they were in negotiations with the firm, and that's why they wanted the master planning. extended for a year. So I do believe there's some activity. Now, it's been my understanding from years past, that statement has been made in years past and things have fallen through, but I believe there to be a legitimate opportunity. There's a lot of activity right now, and I think, to be candid with you, and this is just my personal perspective, I think some of the ordinances that the town had imposed back in 07, 08, 09, 10, in an effort when it was a counter reaction to the high growth that was taking place throughout our country during the early 2000s. I think there's a lot of ordinances, there's a lot of codes that the planning director and his committee are finding that was just made it nearly impossible for anyone to build in these subdivisions in these properties. And we all know the benefits of having good controlled urban growth in an area that is appropriate for it, so that you can maximize green space and maximize whatever the benefits there are. So I think they're taking a really diligent approach to that. We've been in contact with another large property owner who's part of that committee, and so I'm really optimistic that something really positive is going to come out of their report to the council.
If nothing happens within a year's time, I would like to see the town annex it back to the county so the county can work with developers. Too many years have gone by with nothing happening with that property. There's a lot of tax dollars that have been lost. The water hookups, etc., that would have went out there would have really helped the town. So really at the end of a year, if nothing transpires, I won't be sitting here, but I'll be around. And I'm asking, actually I'm requesting that the town annex back to the county so that we can control and move it on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, I'm just in a position to relay information.
That's what I expect you to do.
But I'll relay that to the council.
Thank you.
I think the person who was the owner of that land, I don't think they would want to do that because of the tap-on fees. They want to be in the town so they don't pay double the tap-on fees.
I understand that, but they're passing that on to the homeowner. They don't pay that double. That goes on to the homeowner's bill. All right, thank you, Mr. Teacher. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd just like to end by thanking you members that are no longer going to be serving on the board. Mr. Sayre, Mr. Murray, Ms. Glavis, thank you for your service. It's a volunteer position, and I've done this throughout my time as a citizen. I've come to the boards and just thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Just 5 minutes, a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick 5-minute recess. We're back in session now. I do have one request because it's brought to my attention that there's a lot of cell phones being used during the meetings, and I would appreciate cell phones being turned off just as a matter of respect, let alone for the people sitting next to someone who has their cell phone on. Okay. Yes, also the cell phones they interfere with our speakers, that's why you hear that boom, boom, boom in the background. Next on the agenda is Department of Social Services, Ms. Cheatham. And I apologize for taking a break just before you came up.
We saved the best for last.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. A few things I wanted to discuss today. Of course, I always like to start off with our vacancies. Right now, we only have 3 vacancies and find that wood to knock on. 1 for a benefit program specialist position, 1 for family services, and 1 in admin as a secretary. I'm actually quite excited to say that over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to not only offer a position, but had 2 candidates that applied that were prior employees of not only the county, but of the department. And I was able to offer them, in all actuality, their prior jobs back. So sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side, but it takes a little while for people to recognize that. Right now, we are in full holiday swing with our Coats for Kids program. This is the third year that the county is partnering with Front Royal or Rotary or Front Royal, if I can get my words out. This will be the third year that we're partnering right now. Right now, we currently have about 80 kids that have signed up or have been signed up to receive coats. We last year ordered close to 200 coats, and from that we were able to already provide about 25 coats to people this year that already needed coats prior to them going out in the Doc Smith baskets. So please, if you know of any family that has children that are in dire need of a winter coat, especially with the forecast that we're looking at for tonight and on into the winter, please have them to contact my agency and contact me directly, and I'd be more than happy to sign them up to receive a winter coat. You can make donations. Of course, it's still $20. We'll buy a brand new coat with tags on it. You can make those donations in any of our boxes that are located throughout the county. There are boxes at my office, here at the county administrator's office, the treasurer's office, Royal Cinemas, lots of places throughout the county. You can also make tax-free donations, excuse me, through the community foundation. You can make those online. So please, 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 if you know of any child that's in need of a warm coat, please be sure to reach out and have them signed up. Those sizes come from everything from a 2T to a XXL, and they are thick, warm coats with hoods. On Tuesday, October 29th, the department had the pleasure of sponsoring our first caregiver support group. That was held at Front Royal United Methodist Church. There weren't a ton of attendees. We had about 5 people that attended, but I will tell you that there was a lot of information, there was a lot of sharing and networking with the people that attended, and that's something that I'm hoping we'll be able to continue on into the new year and have that scheduled. The population in Warren County as a whole is becoming an older population. And if you've not already taken care of an older individual or someone with special needs, then that time is likely going to come. And when you need those resources, you need them pretty quickly, and you're going to need that support in that home. So very excited about that. The thermal shelter is also getting ready to kick off on December 21st. This is the third year that the thermal shelter has been operating here in Warren County. That'll kick off at New Hope Bible Church. Transportation will be provided as it was last year at St. Luke's about 6 o'clock if people need transportation to be able to get to the sites, and those sites will rotate up through March, the mid of March. On another news, still saddened to have to report that our foster care numbers continue to rise. Last month we took in a total of 6, I shouldn't say a total, but 6 children in the matter of less than 24 hours that came into care. We're still seeing a rise due to the opioid epidemic, mental health issues. Right now, our total number of kids in care under the age of 18 is 17, and then we have 2 adult foster children that are in care through fostering futures. So it is really important, and I say this at just about every meeting, we are still in dire straits. We definitely need resource parents to be able to try and help these children that come into care through child abuse or neglect, that we can try and keep them here in Warren County versus having to place them outside of the county, where they not only lose the connection with their families, but with everything in the county, including their friends as well. The agency, excuse me, is also in full swing when we're looking at the holiday season. Thanks to our community partners, thanks to just individuals in the community that have been able to provide presents for our children that are in foster care, because there's not a budget line for presents for Christmas or for holidays or for birthdays. So thank you to all the community partners, to our individual families, to our businesses that have reached out and have asked, do you have a family, do you have a child? Not only this year are we working with our children that are in foster care, but we also still have families that are experiencing crisis. If you're experiencing crisis and your lights have been turned off, or you're struggling with food insecurity, then it's highly likely that you won't be able to provide Christmas presents to your child or to your family members. So we are working with the community partners, again with our neighbors and our friends, to be able to provide some Christmas presents to not just the children that are in foster care, but also to the other children in the community that may be experiencing crisis. Also just wanted to announce, and this comes from me as a many thanks to Mr. Sayer, to Mr. Marion, to Ms. Gladys. Thank you all for your service. Thank you for everything that you have done to support the department, as well as Mr. Fox and Mr. Carter. But since this will be you all's last meeting, I do appreciate being a public servant myself. I also know that there are always 3 sides to every story. And with saying all of that, being a public servant, it's not always easy to make decisions, but at the end of the day, a decision has to be made. So I appreciate everything that you all do.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
I just like to say, I appreciate what you do at your position. Thank you.
And I do too, and I know that you mentioned the foster care, and those are the children that I especially hope have a very Merry Christmas, and that you all do that. And thank you for everything, and I know that you all have a shoestring budget, so to speak, and you know, I know, I'll speak for everybody on board, but I know that our board would like to fund you all with more money, we just, at the moment.
We understand it's her mantra, do more with less.
Thank you, and we have one more facility.
Thank you.
Deanna, I want to thank you for all the citizens of the county for what you do. But especially, I'm a firm believer everybody needs a second chance. A lot of people wouldn't be where they are at today if they weren't given a second chance. And I really respect the fact that you're willing to give ex-employees a second chance to come back. Never a third chance when you want to come back. But I believe in everyone deserves a second chance. So thank you.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's absolutely gone. And, you know, I try to do as much as I can to promote our agency and our department in the community and hiring people that live in the community. We've actually had an influx of applicants from Warren County. So I look forward to being able to actually hire some of those individuals.
Thank you.
So you've been having employees come back who have left?
I've had several, yes. Several that have applied and
Yes.
a few that have actually.
I've had the same thing happen when people who moved from Front Royal, they move here with ideas of what this community offers them, and then they get a little disenchanted, they move away. And some of those same people come back because they find out that the rest of the places in the United States aren't so hot either, and that Front Royal is a little bit better.
That's right. All of your perspective.
Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays to you all.
Thank you. Next is a report from the board members. Mr. Carter.
Just a reminder too that any openings on boards or commissions, we do advertise those, and you can find the openings on the website as well. And that's I definitely bring it up because one of the things we're doing the first meeting in January is for the 3 new members. Their counterparts on the planning commission, those positions will be open, and I think it would be important that we need to appoint those at the first meeting so they can get sworn in and attend the first meeting. The first planning commission meets. What's that?
It's the following day.
Following day. It's usually what, the second Wednesday or third Wednesday?
It is, but the way the dates fall, the 7th is your meeting and then the 8th is our meeting.
So the second Wednesday of the month for the regular meetings. Okay, so there again, there's opportunities out there, put in an application. The other thing too, when we get to it, if there's no real deadline, I would suggest that we go ahead and forego item N for the closed session. And that's the point for the zoning appeals member and CPD and community policy and management team. And that way we can allow the new board to go ahead and consider that. Yes, ma'am?
I have a special request from CPD. We've been looking for a long time. They would like to get that appointment made.
When do they meet again?
We will meet,
This
next
month?
week. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And just do it out, we can do that then, that's fine.
Maybe just a suggestion, I think we have one.
Just
We
one.
only have one, so we go ahead and appoint them.
Oh, okay. Let's do
Okay.
that.
And then we can wait maybe for the BZA,
Okay.
if everybody's agreeable with that. The other thing too is, our members that are leaving, Mr. Sayer, Mr. Rory, Ms. Gladys, it's been a pleasure working with you these years, most of the time. But anyway, yeah, we certainly wish you well. And the last thing is, hopefully you're going to have a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe holiday. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Stiles.
Thank you. I just want to thank Emily for all of your help and the wonderful job you've done helping keep us all straight, Emily, Mr. Stanley, and all the county department heads and staff. And Dwayne especially for keeping us straight with our recordings. We'd be lost without him. I appreciate all the support that you provided Warren County citizens. And fellow members of the board, thank you all for a good working relationship. And best wishes in the next chapter. And to the citizens of South River, thank you for allowing me to serve you. And I think I'm leaving you in good hands with Ms. Cheryl Colors. I know you do well for South River. Congratulations, Cheryl. And to the new members of the Board of Supervisors, congratulations and best wishes to you for the coming 4 years. And to everyone out there, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few items to report. I attended the Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission meeting. I also attended, at the mayor's request, the Christmas tree lighting in Middletown. I attended the Riverton Symphonic Orchestra concert at Riverton United Methodist Church. I was at the Christmas tree lighting at Front Royal. Attended the Inland Port Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission holiday reception. And last night, I attended the Second Amendment rally. So it's been a little bit busy. I want to thank all the citizens, the good citizens in Warren County, for allowing me to serve them. I've tried to do my best. Can never make everybody happy. And that's life. I want to thank all the staff for what they've done. Emily, thank you very much. I'm going to miss you. Mr. Stanley, Karen, all, I'm going to miss you. I wish the new members coming in, not just luck, but a blessing with the luck. It's a tough job. You don't see half of what goes on unless you sit in the seat. I'd also like to thank the press for being here, listening, and sometimes interpreting what we're saying the right way, and sometimes not. But that's, once again, life. I'm really going to miss this. I've enjoyed, for the most part, 7 out of the 8 years. It's been a good run. We have a very strong board to try to do right. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Mr. Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, I would like to thank, I hope I don't leave anybody out, name someone. I'd like to thank Bob Childers for all his help he's done. Terry Logan, thank you. Emily, Clark, you've done a great job. Doug Stanley, it's been a pleasure working with you. And also, I'd like to thank the fire and rescue, all the way down from the fire chief and everybody there. You all have been great to work with. Thank you for taking me around all the fire stations initially. That was great. I'd like to thank Tim Radican, Josh Scully, Roger DeMachine, Mark Williams, the press, and everybody. You all have been great. Thank you for saving me, Roger. I appreciate it. I'd like to go down a little bit of a list of some of the projects that's happened in the last 4 years in the Shenandoah District. We had the Morgan Ford Shenandoah River Bridge replacement's been discussed. That was $8,950,499. That was state money. Happy Creek Road or Morgan Ford Road project that's already in the books. It's done. It's just, I think that's going to take place in about 2 years. It's going to be $10,500,000. That's done. Old Oregon Road Phase 2 was done. It's a rural rustic project. It was completed in the spring of 2016. Beach Run Parkway was completed with bike lanes, and that was an amount of $15,870,000. And thank you, Bob Childers, by the way, for helping me get these figures. And the railroad crossing put up by the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's a build grant project. This is a flyover on Rockland Road. This is done. It will happen. People coming in behind us on this board, this is done as of about 6 months ago. It's $15,500,197. So that overpass is now in the project of being, they're doing all the engineering. Some of the educational projects that we've done, we renovated Ressie Jeffrey Elementary School, put a construction of a new entrance, completed the roof replacement metal canopy and reconfiguration of parking areas. And Brandy Rosser helped put all this together. Thank you, Brandy, for your service too. That was a project cost of $5,374,190. Also, we built a new Warren County Middle School. That was a 158 square foot facility to house 6th through 8th grades. Construction completed in August of 2017, amount of $47,088,036. Also, we have a Riverton Elementary renovation that we just voted on to do. We also had the social services building. There was a delayed ribbon cutting. I didn't have anything to do with that, but it was, I think, in the summer of 2017. The reason why I remember that was after the ribbon cutting, when I was walking around, I was followed by the sheriff and 2 deputies. They were trying to intimidate me. That's the truth. Road projects. We had Farm View Road, Riverton section of Shenandoah Farm Sanitary District. That was a Rural River Addition project, amount of $165,897. Tomahawk Way, Phase 2, Blue Mountain Sanitary District, and Mountain View section of Shenandoah Farm Sanitary District. That is $298,590. And the citizens out in these areas, they hate all the dust. And so these projects are eliminating dust, and the people love it out there. Old Oregon Road, Phase 2 got completed. That was an amount of $300,000. Drummond Hill Road, Phase 1, Mountain Lake section of Shenandoah Farm Sanitary District, $181,810. Farms Riverview Road, Phase 2, Riverview section Shenandoah Farms Sanitary District. Again, these are rural road projects, 50% funded by the state, 25% by the sanitary district or the homeowners, and 25% by our county. It was $47,487. Myers Drive Farms Riverview Phase 1, Riverview section of Shenandoah Farm Sanitary District, $215,000. Blue Mountain Road, Phases 1 and 2 was $665,500. That was the rural road rustic, but it was completed by VDOT in August of 2017. That was a VDOT state paid in full project. Ashby Station Road, that's rural rustic project, $265,000. Old Oregon Road Phase 3, $298,000. Then we also had some recreational projects that were done in Shenandoah District. The Farms Riverview Boat Landing, construction of a concrete boat landing and 2 parking areas, 2 off-site areas also constructed at the Skyline Soccer Complex as part of a DEQ permit. That was $201,566. The Thompson Kiss and Ride, this is up on Friesland Road. Construction of that parking area, bus turnaround, shelter, swing set, and associated areas. That's $200,000. The Morgan Ford boat landing, this is right off of Morgan Ford Bridge. There's a boat landing there. It's $212,150. And there's also budgeted in our budget now to have a park. We're going to have a park there. There's also a recycling center. It's going to be off of Howesville Road. That's in the works. Mr. Stanley, what he typically does, the incoming board members, he likes to set aside money each budget cycle, and we have money set aside for recycling, new recycling center. Also with fire and rescue, we did the, and I'd like to thank Mr. Carter, Ms. Gladys, Mr. Murray, Mr. Fox, for helping me in the service and enjoyment that I've had with them. When I first came on, we bought a new fire truck for the Shenandoah Farms I think that's Company 6. And they got a big brand new fire truck, and I appreciate the board voting to put that in for them. And then also we did the new burn center. That was controversial, but our board, I think, voted for that unanimously, and very proud that we got that done for you guys, and try to support fire and rescue department employees all I can do. The railroad crossings that we've had, that's been a bone of contention with a lot of people, especially those on Rockland Road, Fairground Road. We had a meeting, it was about a year and a half ago, our board did, who wanted to show up, and people from the railroad company came, and also people who regulate the railroad company. We met over here in our boardroom and then went out and looked at the different railroad crossings. Eventually they did fix up Fairground Road, the 6th Street Railroad crossing got fixed, the Shenandoah Shores Railroad crossing got fixed, and the Happy Creek Road Railroad crossing got fixed. And the citizens are, from what I hear, are very elated and happy with that. The one again on Rockland Road hasn't been fixed, but we're going to have that $15 million overpass. I think that's pretty much it. Just want to thank everybody again. And if I've missed anybody, I apologize. And Walt, I hope everything goes smooth for you. Step up, to the plate, get active. And North Shenandoah Regional Valley Commission is a nice board to be on. There's going to be the different boards. I was on the airport commission one, just served my first time. That a lot of things happen on the airport commission. So I wish all of you all the best of luck. God bless you. Take good care.
Mr. Fox.
Mr. Chairman, that's quite a, sound like we're spending quite a lot of money. Are we still solving?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Fox, I think he's just getting ready for his next run.
Okay. As I said, it's a pleasure serving with this board, and I look forward to serving the next board, and that's what I'm. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Stanley.
Mr. Chairman, before I give my report, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Supervisors Glavis and Sayre. It's been a pleasure working with you during your tenure. During your various terms, the board has made significant strides in addressing the infrastructure needs of the county and addressing issues facing our community and in support of county staff. And I know on behalf of staff, they appreciate that. Throughout all the improvements, the board has been able to stand by its conservative principles. As an example, the county has maintained a low tax rate. I think we're 3rd lowest in the region. And last time I looked, Warren County ranked 7th out of 7 in our surrounding counties in per capita budget spending. On behalf of county staff, thank you, Chairman Murray and Supervisors Glavis and Sayre, for your support over the years. For my report, swearing-in ceremony, a swearing-in ceremony for new board members and some of our constitutional officers and school board members will be held on December 18th, 4 p.m. at the Warren County Courthouse. Development Review Committee met on November 20, 2019. Committee discussed projects in the county, including rezoning CEP applications for 6475 Winchester Road for the warehouse facility, 4 pending short-term tourist rental applications. The Taco Bell at Riverdale Commons temporary occupancy permit was issued on December 3rd. Multi-tenant building at Riverdale Commons, building permits are under review for demolition of the former bank building and construction of a multi-tenant building. Committee also discussed projects in town, including the Big Lots will be moving into the former Food Line building. The building permits are under review. Daycare was approved at Front Row Business Park. The Sheet site plan has been approved by the Town Planning Commission. And Rite Aid has submitted building permits to be converted to CVS. They're under review as well. The committee will meet again on January 22nd. That's 10 a.m. here in the caucus room. Board of Supervisors goals. Returning and new board members will be asked to provide input in the next several weeks on items to be considered for goals for the board for 2020. FY 18-19 audit. Staff from Robinson, Farmer, and Cox are in this week to finish up work on the audit. In addition, they're completing the meals and lodging tax summary so the county can make its semi-annual payment to the town in December. The audit is scheduled to be presented to the board in January. Tourism Committee, again, last met on October 9th. They'll meet again tomorrow on the 11th. As a reminder, for solid waste, the county's Christmas holiday schedule is as follows. For commercial haulers at the transfer station, Christmas Eve, we have an early closure. It will close at 12 p.m., so they'll be open from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. Christmas Day, we will be closed. At the convenience sites, Christmas Eve will be on our regular hours, and Christmas Day will be closed, but we'll have open top containers available for residents to dispose of their household bag waste. For those folks, I know my wife wants me to get the trash out of the house once we're done unwrapping everything. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Sanders? If not, Doug, thank you very much for everything you do. And I think sometimes there's a misconception, but you carry out, you do the hardware for the board. You carry out our request. They're not your request, they're our request. And I think that's something the public should know, that you respond to the board's needs and the board's request. And I thank you for what you've done. Okay, moving along. Next is the approval of minutes for the work session, May 7th, 2019.
Approval of minutes of work session, May 7, 2019, as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for the work session of June 4th, 2019.
Approval of those minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for the work session of June 13th, 2019.
It's my honor and I'm humbled to present the work session minutes of June 13, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is approval of minutes for the work session of August the 6th, 2019.
Humbled and honored to present the work session minutes of August the 6th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, approval of the minutes for the work session of September 3rd, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Approval of work minutes of September 3rd, 2019.
Second.
Archie did the second before you made your motion.
I was waiting if somebody else wanted to make.
It's like the Mopsy twins. All in favor?
Aye.
And last but not least, approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of November 19th, 2019.
Second.
The last motion, to approve the regular meeting minutes of November 19, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is the additional appropriations and transfers. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the additional appropriations and transfers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the approval of accounts. Any discussion? If not,
I move we approve the accounts as presented.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Under new business, item K, consent agenda. Is there anything other than L, anything to be pulled off of this consent agenda? L's already been
That's
nixed.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Before we move on, I'd like to make a comment that quite a few coyotes in the county. It's, in a way, it's good to get rid of them because of what they can do to the farmers' herds. So,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
yes.
On item number 6, the
Yes.
request for demolition of the structure located at 125 East 2nd Street. And I noticed, can that building be rebuilt, or is it's in the floodplain?
Would
Does
you
that
like to
mean?
pull that, Mr. Fox?
Would you want to pull that and then discuss
So we
it?
can discuss it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So you're making a motion
Yeah, I'll
to
make a
pull.
motion.
Is there a second for the motion to pull
Second.
number 6?
Okay, so we have the others.
Okay, so now we have all others from 1 through 14, less 6.
Yes, which I made the motion.
Yes.
Approve.
And is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we go back to 6, request for demolition structure located at 125 East 2nd Street. Ms. Rosser?
Without rereading everything on the cover sheet, Jeremy Camp with the town did say that if we were to demolish the structure, that it cannot be rebuilt. So the answer to that would be no. So right now we plan on demoing it, grading it back out. It could be used for additional parking until we get ready to move a business into that bottom floor or potentially take over the space for
Go ahead, Mr. Fox.
Yeah, and of course, my question is, can we use that space in the future to build a building, or is it in the floodplain that cannot be built on, or does it have to be built up high, or what's the?
And again, I haven't gone back and looked, we did Mosley Architects performed an analysis for us back about 15 years ago to look at several different options. Some were to build over here on this side with the 3 additional houses and the vacant lot next to the property here or across the street. If you notice, the government center is slightly just outside of the floodplain.
Okay.
We're raised up here. Either way, you're going to need parking. The other option could be possibly raising the site. So I think that's something you'd have to work through the town if and when you get there, whether that's 10, 20, or whatever years down the road. But certainly from the standpoint of the house, I don't think we would anticipate doing anything else at this time.
That's all I have.
Well, yeah, but I thought that we were using the above rental units to help pay.
We are for now, just to bring in income to pay for the purchase of the property. We do have 2 people that are renting the apartments above the former laundromat space. We are also getting ready to gut the bottom floor and potentially bring in a business there that will continue to generate income until we get ready to use the site for different purpose.
So there's, the renters have been vacated.
Yeah, the people that have lived in that for over 15 years in the house.
They moved out because they purchased the home. The renters for the apartments above the old laundromat, they're still, well, we have one that's in the space and one that's getting ready to move into the second one.
But that's not the house we're living in.
It's no, those are the apartments above the laundromat. The house is out in front of it.
Right, that's-
Yeah, so it's actually on 2nd Street and not Village.
So the 2 apartments, just to clarify with me, the 2 apartments above, are there still people living in them and paying rent?
Yes, we did have one renter that moved out, so we have a renter that's going to be taking over that space probably in January, but the second apartment, there's somebody in there and they've been in there for quite some time.
Right, my understanding is that the rent payments help pay the mortgage
right.
payments.
That's right. Okay. Mr. Fox, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I do. I move that the Board of Supervisors approve the demolition of the structure located at 125 East 2nd Street.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in
I have a
favor?
question.
Yes.
So we're going with a low bid then, right?
Pardon me?
Say, you said, are we there right?
Yes, the dollar threshold doesn't require board approval. Obviously, the intent is to go at the low bid, but.
We gonna have a name who that is?
No, that's not part of the actual motion, because it's under the $10,000 threshold, the board does not need to approve the bid.
And I guess the other question is, so this is just demolition and removal, but I assume that we waive the
Tipping fees.
land fees, tipping fees, which works out the same way, one way or the other. I just want to clarify that, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Next, being that we are skipping L, we go to M, general public presentation comment period. Public presentation time is intended as an opportunity for the public to give input on relevant issues and not intended as a question and answer period. Ms. Knotts, has anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. Tim Radigan?
Tim Radigan, 6079 Stonewall Jackson Highway, a resident of Warren County in South River District. I'd like to take this time real quickly to thank Linda Glavis, my representative, for her years of work. I'd also like to thank Mr. Murray for his leadership and his representation as well. And of course, my good friend, Mr. Tom Sayer, for his service as well. I'd also like to take just a couple of seconds to bring more attention to something very important. The Director of Social Services was talking about home care or, care for the elderly. And he says anybody can be hit with it. So right now our family is in the process of transitioning my mother into a long-term facility. She has advanced stage dementia. And one of the first people or first organizations that we reached out to was the Social Services of Warren County. And they have really stepped up. And they have really helped us. And then they have been with us every step of the way. So I'd like to take my hat off to the Warren County Department of Social Services. They are there to help, and if you need it, please reach out to them. It makes the process a lot easier. So, on to something else I would like to talk about. I'm going to be at the special meeting tonight, but I will be there in my full capacity as a member of the press. So I wanted to, as a citizen of this great constitutional republic, Commonwealth of Virginia, and as a veteran of the United States military, I wanted to make a statement. So, January 27th, 1987, seems like a very long time ago, I stood by myself in a crowded room, and I raised my right hand, and I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I remember thinking I have been blessed with the memory of what my mom has. She can remember things that have happened, 70 years ago, and I'm the same way. I remember thinking to myself, this is a blank check. It doesn't have a dollar amount, it doesn't have an expiration date. So, November 27th, 1993, I left the military service. And as I was saying my goodbye to my shipmates, the thought crossed my mind again. That oath still applies. I am still, in my heart, obligated to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. About 8 years ago, no longer than 8 years ago, the United States of America, the citizens of America, a lot of them began a movement. A lot of people called it a radical movement, and a bunch of crazies getting together, waving their yellow "Don't Tread on Me" flags and that sort of thing. It actually became known as the Tea Party movement. During that time, a lot of predictions were made. And a lot of us who were in that movement and were leading that movement, myself included, said that someday they're going to come for our guns. And I'm reminded of a quote from a very evil man. His name was Adolf Hitler. We must learn from our mistakes. It is obvious that a large group of militant, socialist-minded individuals chose not to learn from those mistakes, or they are learning and applying the same principles that this evil man did. Adolf Hitler said, in order to conquer a country, we must first disarm its citizens. Okay? And we can't allow it. We shouldn't even be having this discussion. It is in our Constitution that we are guaranteed the right to bear arms to protect our property and our friends and our family. So I commend the Board of Supervisors for taking this resolution on. And I understand that there's a general concession that everybody, or most everybody here, is going to support that resolution. I firmly believe that we are taking a step into a very dark period in our nation's future. They will come for our guns. They will come for our freedom of speech. They will come for our right to worship as we please. And for those of us who are approaching the older years, including myself, who is now 54 years old, they will eventually come for our very lives. They've already taken care of abortion. They have already taken care of assisted suicide. There will come a time where they will come for the elderly as well and the disabled. We must do everything we can to stop it at its gate. It's no longer in the field. It's no longer approaching us from outside of our borders. It is at the gates. And unfortunately, the enemies are sometimes our very neighbors. There will be, I certainly hope not, but there will be a civil war. It won't be North against South. It will be the conservatives against the socialist, militant liberals. And there may be some of you who are rolling their eyes and thinking, oh, there goes that crazy Radigan, he's off on a tangent again. And remember the Tea Party movement when we said that they will come for our guns. They are doing it now. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Radigan. Mr. Radigan. I applaud you for reminding the veterans. I did the same thing last night. When we took the oath of enlistment, I took mine May 10th, 1966. When you took that oath wasn't just for the time you wore a uniform. That oath is for life. And all the veterans have to remember that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Phelps?
No, sir, no one else has signed up.
Anyone else care to speak at this time?
Dennis David, 305 Kennel Court, front row of duty. Two real quick things. You guys postponed item L till the 20th of January. That's a Monday.
It was January the 7th.
17th.
17th.
Wait, now what day is the next meeting?
Yeah, but it's the second meeting.
I heard January the 20th. That's what I wrote down.
The next meeting's the 7th, so it's January the 7th, is the one I postponed it to. That was in my motion.
He made a motion to postpone to January 7th.
Okay, so that's January
The 7th, that's the
Yes.
first Tuesday in January.
Okay, thank you very much. The second thing is, this audio system needs to be fixed. I know Mr. Murray just got done saying cell phones had something to do with it. That being the case, we need to address that issue because it's very distracting to have that flutter, flutter, flutter. So take it upon yourselves or the next board to look into the audio system. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Dennis. David, did you get did the person follow up with you regarding?
Yes, absolutely.
What was the result of that?
Yeah, that's in the works. I have contacted him, and he has contacted me, and I'm going to forward that to the chairman of the board of Rappahannock Power.
I hope that works out.
I hope it does too. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else that would care to speak at this time? Please.
Yeah, Craig Anderson, 110 Sunset Lane, I've been here since about 85. I want to thank Mr. Sayer, Mr. Carter, and Mr. Murray. All three of those guys called me right back. I didn't know how easy it was to get involved. And they woke the sleeping bear with me with this, Gun Save Lives movement. And I apologize for being so stupid about how things work. And it's not that way anymore. So thank you.
You don't have to apologize. You're stepping forward and you're learning. That's the most important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else that would care to speak? Anyone else that would care to speak at this time? If not, this public presentation comment period is over.
Are we going to address the community, the one person to be appointed today?
Is that?
Or we want to go to closed session?
Let's go ahead and do that. If there's only one person, we need to do somebody from CB&T, so
Yeah.
I say go ahead and make a motion.
We had some others that were,
No, we're just going to do that one. And we can do that now.
okay. I'm not sure of the term limit there on that.
Term limit. Emily, do you have the term?
Pardon me?
I was asking Emily if she had the term.
It's a parent rep. Yes. We're, yes. It doesn't matter, if we need. Okay. I move that we make an appointment, we appoint Lonnie Phillips Jr. to the Community Policy Management Team as a parent rep for whatever your term is.
Say maybe just to fulfill the expiring term, or the unfulfilled term, and take care of it too.
Yes. Well, yes. Will that take care of it? Okay.
I think so. You've made a motion.
A second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to wish everyone a very safe, happy and holy Christmas, very special time of the year, and a safe New Year. And at this point, I'm going fishing. We're adjourned.
See you tonight.